Good day. This is MySQL query, updates and delete. So we are going to talk about the updates and delete scripts in this tutorial. In the previous example that we did is just about insert script, where you can be able to create a registration form. But this time around, we are going to talk about the updates query. And what this one does is that we believe the information is already in database. So how can we create a form that is going to update the information that is already in database? And this is what happens when you are in a particular site and they ask you to edit your profile. And by the time you click on edit profile link, even example is Facebook. When you click on edit profile in Facebook, they will bring something like a form, and they will ask you to change. For example, now your current address may be number 3, so they can ask you to update your current address. So by the time you just press number 4 there and you click on update, what will happen is that number 3 that is already present in Facebook database is going to be changed to what? Number 12. So your new information now will not be number 12. So they make use of update query. So we are going to do that. So before we do that, I've told you that whenever you are doing I told you that there are 4 types of scripts: the insert, the select, the update and delete. Each or every one of these require a database and a working table. So in the previous example that we did, we are still going to use the database and the table that we used in the previous example, and that is the database is market_db and the table is users. So when we create our registration form the other time, these are the people that have registered in our site. So this is the information we are going to use we are going to update. Let me just put it that way. So how are we going to arrive at this? So but by the time by the time you finish knowing about the MySQL update query, I believe you should be able to create forms like edit profile, update your information, and so on and so forth. Form that deals with updating data that is already present in the database. So we will be able to create that. So how are we going to do it? So now there are 2 methods when you want to update data. There's a method that, as a web administrator, you may not need to create a form that will update data. Inside the scripts, you will be able to update data you want to update, even from the scripts. So that's why we said updating data without forms. So without a form, you can be able to update. Once they run the page, once they run that particular page that you place the scripts, once they run the page, they can be able to update whatever data they want to update. So right now, let's copy this. Let's copy the script. This is updating data without forms. So let's copy the script. Sorry, let's copy it. Ctrl+C. So let's go to our FTP. So let's create a new file. Let's name it update profile.php. So we are going to paste the script. So this is just the script. So immediately a user load this page, automatically the information in database is going to be updated with this script. So that's why we say that this script does not require a form. You can see that there is nothing like a form inside the script. So immediately the user load this page, automatically the form. But before we go there, let's look at our table. These are the information we have there: the first registrant, the AD and HDFH. These are the password. 123456 is the password for first registrant. 123456789 is the password for AD, and this is the password for this. So admin@market.com is the password for the first registrant. Ola@yahoo.com is the password for AD. So sorry, is the email. These are the email for this user. So just save this in your brain. So these are the things we are going to start with. This first user, we are going to update his password, then we are going to update his email. We are going to update his password and we are going to update his email for this username, first registrant. So that without coming to this place, as in without coming to the mobile PHP admin or the web PHP admin. So with ordinary scripts, my user can just create or run the scripts, maybe let me just say a web page. Once they run the web page, they should be able to update data that is already in the database. So let's go to the script. I've told you now, this is the host, Xerox local host. Your username will be here, your password is going to be here. So if all this information that you enter is not correct, it's going to give this an error. But if it's correct, it's going to run the remaining scripts. So this is where we have the SQL. So when you are talking about the updates, scripts, then we are making use of the what? When we are talking about the update scripts, we are making use of the update query. So how does it work? Updates. What table do you want to update data from? You want to update table from data from table what? Table name users. So update users. I say you want to update the data you want to update is from table what? Table users. Update. This is syntax to update. This is the table name you want to update for. Our table name is what? Is users. So update, the table name you want to update from, in this example, is users. Sets, we are going to jump all these sets now. We are going to jump it. So where do you want to update from? You want to update from where? Where username is equals to whatever is inside this thing. Things to update. So in this example now, the user where this is where you make use of the where clause. Where username is equals to whatever is inside this thing is going to change. So let's use where username is equals to first registrant. First registrant, because first registrant is in our database. Username, this is username. Where is equals to first registrant. Where username is equals to first registrant. First registrant. Make sure it's correct. So what are the data of first registrant that you want to update? That's where you say sets. You want to update his password first. Password equals to whatever inside this. You want to update the password to let's update the password to Quatsi. So what we are trying to say right now is update the table users. Set password equals to Quatsi, where username equals to what? First registrant. So where username equals to first registrant is normal password. That's it. Username first registrant is normal password is what? Is 12356. But what do you want to update this password to? That's where we make use of sets. Sets is password to now what? Quatsi. So by the time we run this script, if the script run, this password first registrant what provides it should change to what? To change to Quatsi. So this is what the script. This is the work of the script. Update the table name. Set password equals to Quatsi. Where do you want to set password to equals to Quatsi? Because there are a lot of username here. But we know that we want to set a password. We don't know the password we want to set. We want to set a password to Quatsi. But we don't know the password to set because there are 3 passwords here. Which one are we going to set in these 3? We don't know. So set password equals to Quatsi. We will just know that we have to set a password to Quatsi. So where clause will not tell you which password to set to Quatsi. Where username equals to what? First registrant. So that is to say, wherever username equals to first registrant, then the password of this first registrant that is what we want to set to Quatsi. So let's run this now. So if all this now is correct, so right now we are selecting our database. So the table we are updating from is what? Is users table, and it's present inside what database? Market_DB. So that means our database also is correct. So this is MySQL query. I've already explained this there. If this query is not does not work, is not correct, then it's going to say what? Could not update data. But if the query work well, all we say to say something like update data successfully. So that means if all these things run well, it's going to say update data successfully. So this is what we are expecting. I can change this, instead of update data successfully, I can change it to you have successfully updated your information. You can change it to anything. This is just the success message. So let's save this and run our page. What's our file? Update profile.php. But note, this script now is a script where it does not have a form, so it's formless. Like the original form that we did the other time, it has a form. It's possible for us to do that registration form also formless, but we make use of form. Normal registration form to have it. Normal registration page should have a form. So now let's run this script now. This edit script, update profile.php. Let's go to our website, my website, update profile.php. You have successfully updated your information. The script has run. So let's refresh this thing. You will discover that where do you say you should update password? Which password do you ask it to update? Which password do you have to set? We said you should set password equals to QWERTY. You change the password to QWERTY where username is equals to first register. So where this first username is equals to first register, then this password is going to change from 1 to 5. It's going to change to what? To QWERTY. Let's refresh this page, and we are going to see QWERTY there. Can you see QWERTY? So now, can you see that this is what Facebook use whenever you are updating your profile? Maybe you are updating your city. They will say set city equals to whatever city that you enter. Let's say $post city, where your username equals to the username of your Facebook account. So this is what they use whenever they are trying to. But now we are only changing the data for first register. What if we want to change the password, we want to change the email at the same time for first registrants? So how we are going to do that is just say what set password equals to QWERTY. Let me change this now. Let me just change it to QWERTY so that we will be able to know the changes. We want to change the first register, we want to change his password, we want to change his email. So set password equals to QWERTY, and we want to change his email now. So to talk about email now, we are going to use comma. When you have multiple things, we are going to use comma. So this time around, email is equals to what? Email, since the feed is password and the second feed is email that we want to change, email is equals to, you will see that in this password now what they use quotes. So the email that is there before is what? admin@market.com. So let's change it now to first@bank.com. So now we say update username, set password equals to QWERTY. The password will be changed to QWERTY. Email equals to first@bank.com. You see that is comma that we use here. So it will send the password to QWERTY. It will also send the email to what? First@bank.com. So you can send this one to QWERTY, first@bank.com. You can send this one to QWERTY, first@bank.com. You can send this one to QWERTY, first@bank.com. But we have to specify which username to set the password and to set his email. So right now we want to set where username equals to, let's say where username is equals to what other username inside this database. Ade. Let's use Ade. Where username equals to Ade. So right now normally Ade has 1235790 as password and his email is kola@yahoo.com. So now you will see what will happen. We have update. We want to set the password. What is the username that we are picking now? The username we are picking now is Ade. Where username equals to Ade. We are picking Ade now. So we want to set the password of Ade equals to QWERTY and his email equals to what? First@bank.com. So right now we run this script now for Ade. The password for Ade now will now change to what? QWERTY, and his email will change to what? First@bank.com. So let's save this and preview. So this is how you create a registration script, but this time around this script does not have a form. It just runs automatically. So it has run. So let's refresh our web page. You will see that for Ade now, password of Ade and his username, can you see? The password of Ade has changed to QWERTY and his username has changed to first@bank.com. So this where clause is just talking about where you want to change. I can decide to say, okay, wherever there is quotes, I can say wherever password, I can use password as my where password equals to quotes. You know, it's only one place that password equals to quotes. Where password equals to quotes, where password equals to quotes, it should change the username. So this time around, where password equals to quotes, it should change the username. Wherever password equals to quotes, it should change the username to, you know, normally the username for where password equals to quotes, the username is Ade. But right now, where password equals to quotes, it should change his username to Solomon. Username, you change it to Solomon. And where username equals to quotes, it change to username to Solomon, and you change to email to solomon@solomon.com. His email, you change it to what? solomon@solomon.com. So now, wherever the password is equal to, so it does not matter, maybe you are using the first one as the way in the where clause, where username equals to. You may also use password is equals to quote, and you may also use email where email equals to admin@market.com. Set username equals to whatever you want to change this. You know, where email equals to admin@market.com, the username is first register and the password is quoting. But you can say where email equals to admin@market.com, set username equals to whatever you want to change it to, comma, password equals to whatever you want to change it to. So right now, in this script I'm writing now, where the password equals to quote, wherever the password equals to quote, then it should change the username equals to Solomon and the email to what? Solomon@solomon.com. Can you see? So whenever you have two or more things to update, you will separate them with what? Comma. If I have another thing there, I will separate with comma. Another thing I will separate with comma. Like that. But if there's nothing, the last thing is not going to have comma. So the where clause will now come. Then where whatever the statements that you want to select. So where password equals to quote, then set his username to Solomon and his email to what? solomon@solomon.com. So let's save this and refresh our page. So this thing is still having you are successfully update data. So in case I don't like the you are successfully update your data information that is saying now, I can just change it. Let me let it to finish loading. So let me go back to it before I run it. So let me just change this thing. I don't want it to be saying you have successfully. I want to just say update data successfully. I want it to just post this. Save. So let me refresh my web page. So let me refresh my PHP now. Can you see? Solomon@solomon.com. Solomon. So this is just the update without no form. So that's the updating query. So the next example is what? The update with form. That is updating data with form using a PHP script. Updating data with form using a PHP script. So let's copy this. So this one has a form using a PHP script. Updating data using a PHP script. So let's copy this. So let's go to. So I'm going to use this same. I'm going to use the same page. Since we've learned how to update our database, how to create an edit profile without making use of a form. So right now, we want to update our data. We want to be updating our database. As we want to create an edit profile page with a form that has a form, and this is a normal way that all websites to create their edit profile page, because every edit profile page that I've been seeing in any website, they always have a form. So this example now is going to teach us how to build an edit profile page that will make use of a form. So let me go back to page public_HTML so that I can create a new file. So let's create update profile 2.php so that we will not overwrite So just make sure that every script that we use in this example, you are saving them, so that in case you want to use it to build a website, you can use it in any website. You can store it, and whenever you have a web job, you can always use a script. It's still the same way. The way Facebook created their registration form is the same way Gmail created their registration form. There is no difference. Everything is just going to the database. So let's paste this stuff. You will discover now that we have a form, and we also have our scripts that connect this form to the database. So we have this form, and we have the script that connect the form to the database. So under the form now, under our form, we have many fields now. Under the form, we have 2 fields. We have the username, and we have 2 text box, the username and text box, the password. So now, and this form now, this is a connection to the database. So if it's not correct in your own case, please just correct this to your own normal database connection. So your username should be here, your password should be here. So if this correct, if all this information does not correct, then you are going to have this error. Else, if this information is correct, then this one is going to run. So this one is going to run now. So let's see, it's the same syntax that we use during the time we are creating a update form without, we are creating an update script without a form. So it's the same thing we are going to use now. So right now we said update users. So let me jump this set where username is equals to what? $username. So before, in the one that doesn't have a form, we just say where username equals to. So in this code now, we just put maybe Ola, just put the name directly. But this time around, we are using dollar. We are using a variable $username, where username equals to what? $username. So what is our $username? What does it represent? The variable $username, what does it represent? Here now we said that with what? $username, we said is equals to what? $post what? Username. We said our $username equals to what? $post username. So and what did I call $post username for you? I said $post username means what? Means there is a username field in your form. So whatever the user enter at that particular moment that the user is filling that form is what referred to as $post username. So if a username, if a user comes now online now and enter in the username field, you enter Ola at that particular moment is what? Is $post username. Normally the field name is username field, but whatever the user enter inside that field name, that username field at that particular moment is what referred to as $post username. So right now whatever the user enter in the username at that particular moment, we store it with what? $post username, and we now save that with what? Username. So whatever the user enter in the password field at that particular moment, we call it what? $post what? Password, and we now store that with what? $password. So right now when I say update, what's our table name? User, where username equals to what? $username. And what is $username? Where username equals to where the user enter at that particular moment. Then you now set the password equals to what? If you set the password equals to what? $password, where the user enters as the password at that particular moment. So this script is still the same script as the time we are creating the updates without a form. It's still the same thing. This time around now, before we will have used the password now that we want to change it to. We have used maybe like what you want to change it to. Then the username of the user that we want to change his password, we'll have put it here. Out of these 3, we'll have simply first registrant or Solomon, we'll have put the username here. But this time around, we don't know the username. The username can be anything, the password can be anything. So we want them to enter that, whatever the username, they should enter it inside the form. And when the user click on update now, we want a situation whereby whatever the user enter that particular moment as their username, it will not take it as what? $post username. It will save it inside what? $username. So it will not be where username equals to what the user enter at that particular moment. Then when you get where the user enter at that particular moment, if let's say the user enter first registrant inside the field of username, the field remain username. Let's say the user entered first registrant. So now by the time the user click on update now, what will just happen is where user $username will now be what? $_post username. And what does user enter? I've told you that $post username is what user enter is first registrant. So that means your $username is first registrant. So where user equals to what? First registrant. Where user equals to first registrant. Yes. Then what do you want to set? Set password equals to what? $password. What is $password? $_. What the user entered in the password feed at that particular time. What the user entered in the password feed at that particular time. So if the password is what the user entered now is not the password of first registrant now, it's not QWERTY, because this is what the password that is present for first registrant right now in database. But right now is the password that the user newly entered. If the password the user now enter 12, so 12 now will not be $post password, so it will not be saved with $password. $post password will not be 12, it will not be saved with $password, so it will not set password equals to what? 12. So where username equals to what? First registrant, set password equals to what? 12. This is what we have. So it's just the same thing. I just tried to explain with $password and $username, which I believe I've already explained before. So but this time I'm just trying to explain it so that you'll be able to get it. But you may do this thing, you may still use without using form. It's just now the reason we are using all these variables, $password, $username, is just because we are making use of form, and we have stored our whatever the user entered at that particular moment. We have already stored them. Whatever the user entered as username at that particular moment, we store it with what? $username. I've told you that $_post username is what the user entered in the username field at that particular moment. We store it with that username. What the user entered at that particular moment in the password field, we store it as $password. So instead of us to be using password equals to maybe a day where username equals to first registrant, then we now decide to use what the user entered as where username equals to that thing and password equals to that thing. So right now let's run this example now. But before we run the example, let's continue the code. So here now, this is where we select the database. I believe you know this. So if the MySQL query, if there is a connection error, it will tell you it could not connect. Else it will tell you updated data successfully. So this is what we are expecting. So let's save. So let's save. If all is well, let's save and run our code and see what we are going to have. Update profile 2.php is the page name. So let me just change this one to 2. So I won't bother to be writing it. So let me run it. So now username to update. What's the username you want to update? Let's first update hdfh. That's the username I want to update. So the password, the new password, the username. Normally the old password of that username, this username now, the old password is hdfh, that is in database. So the new password I want you to update to is what? Let me say I want to update it to 1 2 3 4 5. So now this is the username that I want to change. I want to change its data. So this $username, that is why you have where username equals to $post username. So what I enter right now, hdfh, is my $post what? Username, and is equals to what? $username. So where username equals to $username, that is where username equals to what I entered at that particular moment, and which is what? Which is this. So this. Then you should do what? You should set password equals to, you should set its password. Normally its password before is what? Is this. You should now set it to what? $password. What is $password? What the user entered that particular moment is $password. So what did I enter at that particular moment? I enter 1 2 3 4 5. So by the time I click on update now, update data successfully. So let me refresh my web page. Let me refresh my admin. Sorry. You discover that for this user now, the password is now what? 12345. So if I want to change the password for Solomon now, all I need to do is enter here Solomon. If you not write down Solomon complete, you just write Solomon. There is no Solomon inside the database, so nothing will change. You are just wasting your time. So but it's Solomon. So the password for Solomon before is squat. So I want to change the password for Solomon. Maybe I want to change my password. Maybe I'm Solomon. Let's say I'm Solomon. I want to change my password now. Maybe I forgot my password before, and that's what happened in all this forgot your password. Maybe all this website that you visit and you don't know your password again, they now ask you to reset your password. What they are mainly doing, the form they give you to fill is mainly updating the password that is inside your database before. Since there is no, that's why you say in any website that you want to update your password, there is no how. If you didn't know any of your information, you can't update your password, you can't change your password. They rather ask you that put your email address. What they mainly do is where email equals to $post email, what you enter at that particular moment for email, then set password is what they mainly do. So when you want to reset a password in any website, they will ask you for a particular data that you know, whether your username, whether your email address, whether your telephone number. They will ask you for something you know. But if you do not know any of your data that is present in your database, then you will not be able to update your password. So right now, if you want to create a registration form, you can create. If you want to create an update form, maybe let me say you want to create a reset password. This update form can also start as this edit profile form can also serve as reset password. Let's say I want to create a page that will be resetting password. Now I will just say, okay, enter your username. Since I know that it's your password that you don't know again, that you want to change, but I believe you know your username. You have to know something, but I believe you know your username. So I'll just ask you, enter your username here. Your username is Solomon. My username is Solomon. I've entered Solomon here. So the new password I want to change it to, let me change it to Ayo. That's my new password I want to change it to. So by the time I click on update now, so right now they will just change this feed. What you are seeing right now is value for this button. The value that is here now is what? Update now. They will just change it to reset password. It's just ordinary value. They will just change it to what? Reset. They change it to reset password. So by the time you refresh the page, by the time you save this page, I have not saved it, but by the time you save it and you refresh it, you will see that this page will have come to reset password. So now think that how did they come across resetting password? It's very, very simple. They merely use update script. That's why I told you there are just 4 commands. They insert, they select, they update, and they delete. All these web page that deals with database information, your information in that database, so bringing your information, this is just the 4 commands they use. So what you just have to ask yourself is, this page I want to create, whether you want to create a reset password, reset username, maybe you want to create a edit profile, you want to create a registration form, you want to create a login form, a comment form, whatever form you want to create, what you ask yourself is, this form that I want to create, what type of scripts is it going to have? What type of command is it going to have? I love calling scripts another name for script. I love calling it command. What type of command is still going to have? So if you want to create a reset password now, you know that reset password is just a particular page that by the time you enter a node data, is going to update the data that you did not know. Right now, this user Solomon now, he has forgot his password. Normally, this password for Solomon inside database is squat, but Solomon, because the user does not have access to the database, this website now, the user does not have the access to this website database. So there is no way they can know the password, his password. Maybe he has forgot that he used squats. So let's say Solomon now wants to change his password because he was unable to log into his account. So what Solomon will just do is, inside this website now, Solomon will just look for reset password. So Solomon will just click on that link, reset password. So the web administrator, what they will do, how they will create the reset password page, they are going to use a update. They are going to use a update command, a update script. whereby the no data, what the user know, what he knows before. Let's say the user know is his username is known. You just enter his username, Solomon. But the password, the unknown data, then you can enter anything there. Then you just click on update. Right now, let's say I use Ade as the new password. If I click on update now, what will happen? So update data successfully. So by the time I refresh this page now, maybe I come back to my PHP admin, then I'll be able to have access. Can you see Ade? So this username now, Solomon, has successfully changed his password to Ade. So that's just about. But right now, let's say right now there is only just one feed. In case I want to, with this username that I know, Solomon, with the username that I know, let me say I want to change my password, and also I want to change, just like edit profile. Let me say I want to change my password. I also want to change my email. How will I come across this? It's very simple. Normally the email is already present in the database, but it's just that in this update command we do not have a form that collects emails. Normally our forms that we have now only collect username and only collect the new password. It does not collect email. So the first thing we have to do is, let's create a form. In this form now, let's add a field that collects email. Let's create a field. I'll just copy this and just put one so that you see what I'm doing. So new, I can call this new email. So the type is always text, so that I can see what I'm typing. If I type as password, I will not see what I'm typing. So that's why you are seeing this feed. You are not seeing what you are typing. It's because they put it type as password. So under the name for my new email, I will name it email. I name this one password. I name this one username, email. So right now the email feed is going to change. It's going to show. So since I have created the email feed now that is showing, the next thing I have to do is that inside my command, so now I say where username equals $username, set password equals $password, then I have to put comma, email equals what? That is so that it will set both password and it will also set email. Since there is nothing after, I want to put comma again. Where password equals $password and email equals what? Email. But if you want this code now, by the time you press the password and the email, it's going to change the password, but the email will not be changed. Why? Because you have not defined your $email. What I'm saying is this. Let's run this code. Let's run it first. Let's refresh this page. Can you see I've put the new email, I've put the feed. The set password is because of I've changed the value for the text on the submit button. I've changed the value of the set password. That's why we are seeing the set password here. But it does not mean anything. This is just a stuff. It does not mean anything. So if I say, okay, my username, the username that I want to change this information is Solomon. Let me say my own username is Solomon. I want to change my password to King because I didn't know my password again. I want to change my password to, let me retype it, King. And my email, I want to change it to king@king.com. If I click this button now, if I click on this button now, it will tell me that update data successfully. It's going to tell me I update data successfully. But by the time the web administrator go to the database and check it, usually we are not going to know that this email does not update. It does not update email, and I will tell you the reason. By the time I refresh this page now, you will discover that, can you see, Solomon, when username equals to Solomon, then what do you change? You change your password as what? As King, and change your email as king@king.com. But why is it that this place is empty? Why is it that what I change it to? I change it to king@king.com. King@king.com. This is what I change it to. But why is it that my password is changed to King? Because I changed my password to King, and my email does not change. Why? The reason your email does not change is, if you look at the script here now, you say password equals to $password. So the password is what is equals to what? $password. That is why your password changed, because you have declared your $password. You have said your $password is what I will call this thing. I don't need to call it $post user password again. I will call it your $password is equals to what the user enter at the password field in your form. What the user enter at this password field in your form is your $_post password. So what the user enter at the password field at that particular moment, which is the same thing as kink, is stored with what $password. That is why you are able to reset your password in the table to $password. That is, you are able to reset your feed, your table feed password. You are able to reset it to kink. Right now, you said you should not reset the email to what $email, but you do not define email. So there is nothing like email. Email is empty. That's why you see something like empty here. So if I want to change this now, I will just copy this line. I will paste it here. I will edit this into email. Since I have created my form, I have named my email feed, I have named it email. So whatever the user enter this particular moment, at that particular moment, which is this, and then it's going to store it as what at $email. So my $email will not be inputted into to be set. The email will not be set to whatever the user enter at that particular moment, where the username equals to what the user enter at that particular moment for the username field. So this time around, the only thing that does not make make us to have an empty email is because of we did not declare what our $email is. Because we only create the variable $email, we did not declare what $email is. But right now that we have declared that $email equals to what the user enter at the email feed at that particular moment, we have declared it now that $email is equals to what the user enter at that particular moment in the email feed. Then we say is equals to $email. So right now, by the time we save this file and we run it, then our email also will be. So let's refresh our web page. So username Solomon, password, let me change it to Chrome. Then the email, let me change it to coin@coin.com. So all these reset, it has updated successfully. All these reset password does not mean this is just a field, as in a value. You can change to anything you like. But the normal thing for this kind of thing, it should be what? It should be edit profile. That's the normal thing you should change it to. Edit. You should change it to what? To edit profile. So now let's refresh that and see maybe our email has been updated for Solomon. Can you see now? Solomon, the password has been changed to Coin, and his email has been updated to what? Coin@coin.com. So right now, the mistake we made the other time is because we did not declare what our $email is. So he's not seeing our $email as an empty, and that's why he's posting an empty thing as $email. So just notice, so that in case you create another field and you are trying to do it, so that whenever you are seeing an empty space, don't be discouraged that why is it that you are seeing an empty page, why is it not updating. So just check your code. So what I'm just trying to say about this thing that you are seeing, the set password, is just a value. So you can always change it to whatever is suitable for that kind of forms that you are creating. But this value does not mean anything. It's just what the user is going to see. So but what mean something is just this submit button. Whatever you write on the monitor does not mean anything. But it's just user have to know what they are saying, so that they will know where they have to register. They will not go and they will not think it's an updated form or updating profile form. So you have to show it that this is a register now. Then login, reset password. You have to tell them what the form is doing with this value. So but note, in case you want to use this form later in any website, the only thing you need to change in this form, just note it: the username to your database, the password to your database, the username, the password to your database. Then you change all these parameters. It now depends on whatever feed you have in your database and that you want to update, where the feed you want to use to as the where clause. maybe where your username is equals to dollar username, or maybe where your password equals to dollar password, anything. Then you now change, the next thing you change is this, finish your database name. So in case you are using different database as this, you just change the database to suit whatever database you are using. I'm using market_db, that's why I use market_db. But if you create another database, you can change the name to whatever database you create. So, and you also change all this. I've already explained this. So you change this parameter, and you change this, so to suit whatever server you are using or whatever site you are using. So that's just on updating profile. So the next thing that we are going to talk about is the MySQL delete query. So it's possible that you have ordinary 3 users in their account, but it's possible for you to create something in your site that will tell the user that, okay, you can unsubscribe, or you can call it unsubscribe. Some people call it unsubscribe, some people call it deleting accounts, delete accounts. Well, note, it's not every site that they create something like delete account, that you should delete your account even if you like. But in most users, in most sites, they call it unsubscribe. So in case you want to create this kind of thing, unsubscribe, then unsubscribe is making use of what? The delete syntax. So whenever you have something like whenever you have, let's say for example now, you have a form, you have something and they ask you a message, and maybe you have a post and you want user to be able to be deleting the post, then you make use of what? The delete script. You make use of the delete command. Let me call it command. So that's just about the delete command. So how do you do this? You do this by creating a form, and whenever the user click on the button, what will happen is the form is going to connect to the database and delete that user information from the database. So that's how you create, as in you do this. So but it's just useful in case you build a site and you want users to leave the site anytime they wish. You want to give them the access to unsubscribe, the access for them to delete their account in the site in case they don't wish to continue with the site. You want them to be able to terminate their user account in the site. Then you can create something, you can create a form that they can be able to do that. But that form will make use of what? Delete scripts, to make use of delete command. So the form will now connect to the database. It will not use delete command to delete that user information from the database. That's just the meaning. But mostly it's not every site that do this. But another thing that you can use delete script is maybe in Facebook now, when you post something, you comment and you want to delete that comment, you just click on a particular thing. So that thing is a form. That form will now connect to the database. Then it will delete that particular post from your database. So they will also make use of what? Delete command in that example. So we are going to do that by running this script. So let's copy this script. This is delete command, delete scripts. So just copy this script. So copy, then let's go to our FTP. Let me open the page. Let me open another. So let me save this file. Let me create a page. Let me save it, delete.php. Let me call it unsubscribe. Subscribe.php. Unsubscribe.php. Let's paste this. So here now you use this to connect to your database. So let me change it to my information. Right now my username is not root, my username is market. So connect to my server. So my password is QWERTY. party@2014. So this is my password. So if all this information is not correct, it will tell me could not connect, else then it's going to run the remaining script. So this is where we use the command delete from. That's the command for, can you see, is a delete syntax, delete query. So I've told you there are 4 types of query. We've talked about, there are 4 types of script. We talk about the insert script, we talk about the update script. So we are talking about the delete script now. So this is where we use it. Delete from. What do you want to delete from for? Where do you want to delete from? You want to delete from the table. What's the name of our table? Users. So delete from user, where username equals to what? $_ what? Username. You understand what I'm trying to say? Where username equals to what? $_ username. But now, since we are not trying to create a form, we are not trying to use a form, we don't need to be saving $username. We don't need that. We don't need to be creating a variable, since we are not trying to create a form. You understand? Or we can say delete from, what's the table name? Users, where username equals to what? $username. And what's $username? We did not declare it yet. We can now say $username equals to, what's the username we want to unsubscribe for in database? Let's say we want to unsubscribe for HTFH. Let's say we want to unsubscribe for this person. So delete from the table users, where username equals to what? $username. What's $username? HDFH. So delete from user, where username equals to HDFH. So it's going to delete all this row. It's going to delete it by the time we run the script. If it runs successfully, to delete all this row. So that's what we are trying to say. We say that we should delete from what? Delete from user, where username equals to what? $username. And what's $username? HDFH. So, and this is where we select database. So if it deletes successfully, if it does not delete successfully, we will see is0 could not delete data. Else, if it deletes successfully, we will see delete data successfully. So what you just need to be changing is your database connection, your username, your password, then this parameter, and you also change your database name. So these are just information you need to change: your database name, this parameter, then you will change your username and your password. These are the information you just need to change. So let's save this and run our page and see what it will do. So let me so now what's the success message? Let's check the success message before I run this delete. Then we are going to see delete data successfully if it's run. So then what's the name of the page? unsubscribe.php. Can you see? Delete data successfully. So which data do we delete? We delete where username equals to what? HDFH, $username, which is HDFH. So where username, this row is what we delete. So let's refresh our page. You will discover that the data will no longer be there again. Can you see? The data is no longer there again. So this is what you can use. This is a script you can use to delete data from the database. This is a script you can use if you want to create a solution whereby whenever a user click on a script, click on a page, run a script, whenever a user run a script or they click on a page, you want them to be able to delete their information in database. So we can call it a unsubscribe page, unsubscribe.php. But in case I want to create a form, I want to create a form. It's possible I want to create a form to be collecting, as in to be telling me the username to delete. Like now I'm not using a form. I can just be setting this username to whatever username that I want to delete. If I want to delete the next username, which is Solomon, if I want to delete Solomon now, I'll just put Solomon here. So to just delete from user, where username equals to what? So our username is now what? Is now Solomon. Where username equals to Solomon, you just delete all this row. But right now in this example we are not using a form, but it's possible to use a form. So let's just create a small form. Let's create a small form. Form action equals to so let's end the form. So let's create just a small form. Username, inputs, type equals to test. Inputs equals submit value equals to user. So this is just a small form, and what a form does is this: it only have a text box, and that text box is what we name it username. So right now our dollar username will not be what? It will not be dollar underscore what? Underscore posts, whatever the username, whatever the user enter at that particular moment. Username. Very simple. We've changed the script. So before example, the first example we did is just to delete the data from the database without a form. But this example now is deleting the data from the database with a form. Right now we create a form, then we create just a field. We name the field what? The username. So here we say whatever the user enter at that particular moment, whatever the user enter in the username field at that particular moment, we store it with what? $username. So we now say delete from users, where username equals to what? What the user enter at that particular moment. So if you delete, it just say you delete successfully. So let's see how it works. So let's run our code. Let's run it this time around. Let's run it. Let's run it. So right now we've not added data. You will see that it's just these two data that will still be there. Can you see? There's no change. So right now let's put Solomon. Let's try to delete Solomon. This is the text box, and we name this text box what? We name it username. This text box, we name it username. So and we said we name the text box, we name it what? We name it username. And we said whatever the user enter inside this text box username at that particular moment, whatever the user enter in that inside the text box username at that particular moment, we name it $post username. So we now store whatever the user enter at that particular moment, we store it as what? $username. Then we ask it to now delete where username equals to whatever the user enter. So if we enter Solomon now, when we click on this button now, it's going to delete. If we enter Solomon now, we click on this delete button, is going to delete this Solomon row, because we have said that you should delete where the username equals to Solomon. So it will delete all this row. So where username equals to what? Equals to Solomon. Then where delete where username equals to $post username means what? What the user enter at that particular moment, and what we enter at that particular moment is what? Is Solomon. So it will just delete the Solomon row. Delete where username equals to Solomon. To delete all the row. That's just because I've already told you that $post username is equals to what the user enter in that username feed. What the user enter in this username feed at that particular moment is called $post username. So it will store that thing that the user enter, which is Solomon, to store it as what? $username. So it will now delete it to delete that row, and that is what it's delete right now, to delete this row Solomon. So let's click on it. So let's click delete. So if it all works well, delete data successfully. So let's refresh our web page. Solomon is still there. Why? There is an error in our form. there is an error in our form. It's to delete Solomon, but there is an error in our form. So let's see what that error is. Under our form, it's like we forgot to add method there. Method, maybe that's how there is an post. So I think it should be okay now. So let's save this. So method should be post, because all the forms that we have been created since, all the forms we've been using since, we are having, look at this form now, we are having method, we are having posts. The method is always post. So let's refresh. Username, so Solomon. So delete user. So let's refresh. Can you see? The user Solomon has been deleted successfully. Delete user successfully. So the mistake we have the other time is because we not use, every form must have a method. So the method can either be post or get, but you can search Google on form method post or get, so they will be able to explain the reason we use post and the reason we use get. So it's either you use post or you use get, but just search Google so that you have more knowledge on the reason why we use post and we use get method. But for the course of this tutorial, everything we have been doing, every example, every forms that we have been using, we have always been using the method post. So the reason our program did not run the other time, that the Solomon that is not deleted the other time, is just because of we did not put any method in our form, and that is why, and that is what we try to correct now. So what other user do we have in our database? We have first registrants. So you can decide to delete this user also. Let's delete this user also, first registrants. So we just paste it here. So delete user. So one user can delete themselves. So by the time we refresh this page, we will discover that our table is what? Does not have data. Can you see? There is no data inside it. So right now you are going to know that this is a form. So instead of creating delete user now, you can just say, you can just change this value, the form value, you can change it to unsubscribe. Subscribe. You can change it to unsubscribe. Refresh. Can you see? Unsubscribe. So, and this is what you see in many sites, that this is what you see in a lot of sites, that whenever they ask you to unsubscribe, maybe you are already a registered member in the site, and maybe you no longer want to keep your account, you want to delete your account, they will be able to give you access to delete your account. So they will just ask you for your username. So once you enter your username, then you click on the unsubscribe button. Automatically all your data that is present in the database is going to be what? It's going to be deleted. It's going to be destroyed. And once it's deleted, then you can't log in again to your profile. It's not possible, because it's until whenever you use login, whenever you want to go to a login page in any site, you make use of that page is created with what? It's created with a select command, and something cannot be selected from database except something is already present in the database. Since you have unsubscribed, that means your data is already been deleted in database. Then there is no how you can select a data that is already deleted. So that means you will not be able to log in, because login make use of what? Select command. And since there is nothing to select in the database, then you will not be able to log in. So that means when you unsubscribe in a site, you can't be able to log in. The only thing that can make you to log in again is you will first go and register back. So if you unsubscribe, you have to first register there before you can now log in again to their profile. So login make use of insert command. When you are registration, you have to be registered first before by the time you unsubscribe, before you can log in again to that site, you have to first register before you log in. Because if you unsubscribe in a site now, you can't log into that site, because login make use of select command, and if something cannot be selected, if your information cannot be selected from your database, then you can't log in. So that means before you can log in, you have to first go and register. You have to go and register, and once you register, then you now have access to login. So the next thing that remains is just the select command. We have talked about the insert command, the update command, and the delete command. So the last thing is just the select command, which we are going to talk about in the next tutorial. Thank you very much.